Okay, thanks to Drone Safe Store, we've finally got our hands on the Mavic 3. For those of you who've been following me, you'll know when the Mavic 3 was launched, I took an instant distaste to it. Well, not particularly the drone, but basically DJI's practice. I didn't seem to think that it was a massive improvement on the Mavic 2, so therefore didn't justify the expense. And the biggest contention was that I really disagreed with the fact that my smart controller, purchased not long ago for the Mavic 2, will not be working with the Mavic 3. I still stick by that. I don't think it's very fair. I don't think they've been very fair to the customer. But that said, we're going to look at the quality of the drone and see if it justifies it. In the meantime, you could of course buy the Cine version, which comes with the Smart Controller Pro, but you're going to be shelling out £5,500 or thereabouts. And bearing in mind that the new controller, the Smart Controller, won't be compatible with this or any other previous model. So, but anyhow, the drone's here. It's roughly the same size as a Mavic 2, slightly larger, a bit chunkier. You've obviously got the benefits of the dual camera. The layout of the props is pretty much the same. Everything works identical. I've connected it to the smart controller. I've connected it to my phone and the controller. Didn't take very long. We'll take it out in the field very shortly. One thing that I do like about this particular drone is that the onboard charging, so you don't have to remove the battery to charge it, just USB-C in there. That's quite a nice handy feature. It comes with the strap or the cover rather than the gimbal cover. Rather complicated looking thing, but it does actually do the job really well. And there is the famed controller. So again, use it with your phone on the top there. Comes with the connections for all types of phone. And the batteries, very different to any previous model. These are rear loading batteries, and the flight time on these is apparently quite impressive. So basically, as soon as we get some decent weather, we're going to get it outside and see what happens. So Mavic 3 here out in the field. Basically, weight's very similar to the Mavic 2, might be slightly heavier I think. Certainly a bit chunkier, there seems to be a bit more to it. Reloading battery, which is very different to the Mavic 2. Nice positive click, like so, and the LED to show you the remaining power on the back there. Everything else is pretty much similar, everything's in the same place. Camera's obviously very different with having the dual camera. We'll see the results of that very shortly. Yeah, I think design-wise, very good. Yeah, we're going to fly the Mavic 3 for the first time. Everything seems to have gone well, and the connection was very easy. Actually, easier than connecting a Mavic 2, so quite impressed with that. I still can't get my head round the big clunky controller. That's really annoying me, having used a smart controller for so long, and again having to go back to using my phone on the controller. That's really grating me. Maybe something, maybe DJI might see the wisdom and perhaps make the smart controller the normal smart controller compatible with the Mavic 3 one day. Let's hope so. But at the meantime, I'm restricted to using the controller and my smartphone. So we've got everything connected up, we've got all the updates done. Let's see what happens. So starting the motor is exactly the same. The display on the screen is quite different to what I'm used to on the Mavic 2. I quite like some of the features on there. We seem to have got all the normal telemetry, etc. So let's see how it handles. Just hovering at 2 feet, very stable as it should be. I think it's a little bit quieter than the Mavic 2. It's exactly the same responsive. Yeah. Image quality on the phone is quite good. And we're up and away. Okay, so we're at 44 meters. There's a bit of a breeze, but nothing serious. Hovering quite nicely. Tilting of the gimbal is exactly the same as the Mavic 2. Again, image quality looks really quite nice. I think it actually does look a little bit sharper than the Mavic 2, even on the smart controller. So let's see what the video runs like. So we've got absolutely no lag whatsoever on the display. Let's change that to photographs. So that's instantly gone to 4:3 format, which I don't particularly like. I prefer 16:9, so we'll have to figure out how to actually change that. So there we go, time shots, photo, bit of bracketing, master shots, time shots. So I figured out very quickly how to change the format of the photos to 16:9. That was no problem. Also figured out very quickly, without even reading the instruction booklet, on how to change to the zoom. On the small screen the zoom looks okay, but the telling will be when we get it back on the PC and see what it looks like on there. But yeah, the zoom seems to work all right. It's very easy to operate. It's just touching the screen and that's it. Yeah, not too bad at all. Display nice and clear, can't fault it. That's the first flight with the Mavic 3. So, would I buy one? Possibly. I do like it. I've flown all the Mavics before. Currently on a Mavic 2 Pro. The Mavic 3 I think is an improvement on the Mavic 2. But I still think that DJI have got to do a bit of work on it. They've got to get the software right for a start, give it all its features. And I'm still confused as to what they're going to do about the smart controller. I'm quite aggrieved to actually purchase the Cine version just to get a smart controller. And again, the Smart Controller Pro doesn't work with this version of the Mavic 3. So again, to me it just sounds a bit of an unnecessary expense, and I think DJI could have done a little bit better. But let's see what happens in the new year. Quality wise, very happy, beautiful drone. Let's wait and see what happens.